Listen to this woman. This woman is explaining about racism in the Caribbean. Look at this. And then I'll give you my thoughts towards the end of the video.
So as a Guyanese West Indian woman, I actually just wanted to add my 2 cents on this, because growing up back home, my family was one of 2 Indian families in a predominant Black village. And we were always taught to, respect our elders, regardless of the skin tone. You respect everyone around you. My best friends were Black. We went to school with everyone who were Black. And I don't think my grandpa even really knew why he did not want, you were allowed to be besties. His best friends were Black. Our neighbors were Black. When we kill our animals for Christmas time, we don't feed half the village. But he always used to preach, you never marry a Black person. And I don't think we really truly knew why we felt that way. Obviously now looking back, slavery, because we were the lighter skinned slaves, the slaves that came from Africa were meant to feel that we were superior to them because of our skin tone. But a slave is a slave is a slave is a slave. And all of my aunts and uncles later went on to marry a Black man or woman. And so all my cousins are, biracial or Dougla for the Guyanese people. That's what we called a biracial person. You're a Dougla. And so I don't think he fully knew why he was supposed to feel that way, but he did. And I mean, like I said, all of my cousins are mixed, except for me. My mom married a Guyanese Indian person. So, but I mean, even as a Guyanese Indian person, I'm 12% Black. So the mixture happened, whether we liked it or not. But it was just interesting for me because I never felt like it was racially profiling back home. We break bread with them. We invite everyone over. We have parties. We sit down. We congregate with them. We go to their weddings. They come to our weddings. We were very much immersed in each other's cultures. And so it never felt like the North American version of racially profiling someone or racism. It never felt that way. But of course, it's obviously still a version of that to say that you can be best friends with them and, we can grow up our entire lives with them. But, you can't marry that person because they're Black. I don't think it ever really had anything to do with, your skin tone. Because especially in Guyana, it's a Caribbean country. It's very hot. Everyone have some level of melatonin going on. I think we just have to thank slavery for that. Thank the white people for conditioning us and putting us to fight against each other, because even to this day, the Black and the Indians are fighting and we don't know what we're fighting for. But it's just interesting, South American versus North America, how you look at things. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on it.
Let's dig in. I will not deny my Indian and South Asian heritage because it's part of me and it's part of who I am. I love me some roti. But I do know there are a lot of Guyanese people who feel heavily discriminated against by South Asian and Indian people, and this is because of a class issue, which is that the lower castes got sent to Guyana as indentured servants and the upper castes looked down on them. So, if you are South Asian or Indian and you look down on Guyanese people, then there's something wrong with you. And I have never personally experienced this. I don't know if that's because I'm second generation and I was born in Canada. I do know the Indian matchmaker touched on this recently and it got a little bit more love. But I'm curious on here for my fellow Indo-Guyanese. Do you renounce your Indian heritage and just say you're Guyanese, or do you embrace it?
Cornell. And the prejudice that I faced there. The lady said, look at you. I didn't know she was referring to my color. She said, what makes you think you're cut out to work at this Ivy League institution? Oh. They used to switch my medication label. At the end of the day, they would spray some blood on the pump. Next day, they called the director and said, look, he did the last case yesterday. Look how dirty it is. I'll go sit down with them. Some of the old walls in, like 7:15. Yeah. They'll go sit and have coffee. The minute I sit down, they all get up and leave.
I am culturally and natively Guyanese. I was born and raised there. But Guyana isn't the country that makes up my genetic background. So that's the whole purpose of this video, is to show you guys exactly what those countries might be. Many of you Guyanese that are watching this probably already know this, but yes, we are Guyanese, but our ancestors were taken from other countries in Africa and brought to Guyana as slaves. So that's the mystery I'm really trying to solve or get closer to understanding, is what parts of Africa my family was taken from, or my ancestors, should I say. I'm excited. I'm about to share you guys exactly what makes up my genetics. Here we go. I am 43% Cameroon, Congo, and Southern Bantu peoples, which is located in the Central Africa area. So this is actually what makes up most of my genetics. So most of the blood running through my veins and what makes me me is Cameroon, Congo, and Southern Bantu peoples. I am 32% Benin/Togo, and these countries are located right beside, or just right in between, Ghana and Nigeria. So it's like I'm almost from Ghana, I'm almost from Nigeria, but not quite. I'm from these countries in between. Next down the list, I am 11%, drumroll, Ghana. And there's actually a little bit more that kind of fall less than 6%. And those countries are 6% Mali, which is another country in West Africa. So most of my blood lays within West Africa. And then this was the one that was most shocking to me. I am 6% England, Wales, and Northwestern European. That's whites. This is a bit shocking, but I do remember my mom and my grandmother, they would tell me that my grandfather would always say that they have some traces of white in them, which they do, obviously. This just kind of confirmed it, and they always do tell me that. So I did know that my family has white in them. We don't talk about it much, but that's like to the extent to what I know about our ancestral history. And last but not least, well, actually last and least, because it's the least percentage, I am 1% Filipino and 1% Native American.
Sorry, it's too hot in Nairobi right now. There's rain everywhere, so forgive my sweat. Now, I want us to talk about racism. Racism is not an easy topic to talk about because we know how bad it can be. Racism made so many people lose their lives. During the Nazis, that was racism. During what happened in the South African apartheid regime, that's racism. In Congo, in Congo, it was racism. We have many people who have lost their life through racism, and racism has been attempted. Many people have attempted to explain racism and its effects, and it's always important to understand how it operates. We have people like Jane Elliott, we have people like Tim Wise who have explained racism. And now, I want you to think of this. Now, reason with me. I'm about to talk about a group of people, the Indians. Not all Indians, but a group of Indians. In Kenya, even here in Kenya, I am from Kenya, and other parts of the world. In South Africa, I've heard Julius Malema complaining. Julius Malema complaining of racism. It tells you how serious it is. He said that majority of Indians are racist. We have the Indian caste system. The other day we had an Indian lady who spoke so bad to a black individual. Now what happens is that anybody whose skin is closely resembling the skin of the person who oppressed them. The oppressor in this case was people from Europe during those old times. They colonized Africa. They brought slavery, and they formed a thing that if you are closely looking like them, the superior, they made themselves superior over people who are darker skinned. They were hiding something that we don't see. We couldn't see back then, but now we see. We know how precious the white skin is. we have the white people, we have the Indians, and then we have the black in this scenario. Indians are not white, and they're also not black. They're somewhere in the middle. So they really like people who are whiter than them. We have them, then we have the darker skinned. They even go against their own selves. They say, if you are dark, we really don't want to associate well with you. I did a video about this girl whom her mother did not like her because he married a black man. Her mother didn't like her for that. He married a black man. And her mother went to the extent of she never liked her black kids. She only liked her kids who are like more Indian. Indians can sometimes be racist. And I don't think it's an Indian problem. I think it's a human problem that people are having. But many cases I've heard, it's always the Indians who are involved. Some of these people who are Indians don't understand this is an indoctrination, and an indoctrination that has been brought upon them by the colonizer, by the oppressor. It's high time Indians and other people who think they are racist to remove that cloud which has blocked their way of thinking. Racism is just a tool of oppression. It's not a tool that makes you superior or what. No. The moment you are racist, you are displaying self-esteem issues. The moment you are racist, there is something you are covering up. Racism is always about, I think you are superior than me, but I have to gaslight you to think I am superior than you. You know? They think. I believe that everyone is equal. The only difference we have is our skin color. I did a video the other day about a white man who was apologizing. He realized that the difference is just the skin color. Underneath we share the same blood, you know. And people who are traveling to the West, people who are traveling to the Caribbean, are the ones who are complaining of this. White people are never complaining that Indians are racist to them. It is always the black man who is complaining that Indians are racist to them. It tells us one thing. If Indians themselves are racist to fellow Indians who are of darker skin or a darker complexion, if it's a white man, they worship color. Indians have the caste system, don't forget that. It's highly based on color and everything. The lighter you are, they consider you to be of a higher caste. I don't fully understand the caste system, forgive me. But one thing I know, some of you are very racist to Africans, to black people. We see it even here in Kenya, in the shops and everything. It's high time we realize that racism is a tool that was once used. It's time we get over it, we get past it. It's leading us to nowhere. It will only lead to more chaos because blood begets blood, violence begets violence. Whoever lives by the sword shall die by the sword. That's how it's always been. If you decide to live by the sword, you die by the sword. You decide to live by racism, it shall come up to you again. It shall come back to you 10 times fold. And that is how nature operates. It's high time now we come back and we realize, no, we are humans. We have the human race. That is what we have. In the human race, we have different people. We have people who live in Europe, people who live in Africa and all that. But in the totality of reality, we have the human race. A part is not greater than the whole. We can't say that the white people are superior than the whole of humanity. No. It can never be. It can never be like that, you know. Forgive me for the kids playing hereby. Now, you as an African American, you as an African, realize that you have so much potential with your skin. We have so much potential hidden within us. It's like they never tell us, but there's so much with the black people. So much with the black people. And some people hate it because the standards of beauty has been defined by some other people. No, we should accept God we should accept all the creations of God. And that's what we should do. Guys, thanks for watching. I have to end the video here. subscribe, watch other videos, join my Patreon. I appreciate, and see you in the next one.